The worst part wasn't being accused of cheating. It wasn't even waking up the next morning with bruised ribs, a swollen face, and a concussion. It was looking past the people attacking me and seeing the man I was supposed to marry standing there, watching. My name is Gwen Holly. I'm 28 years old. And until this happened, my life was painfully ordinary. I had a stable office job, a decent apartment, and a fiancé I genuinely believed I would grow old with. His name was Philip Twilly. He was 26 when we met. Smart, funny, affectionate, and somehow capable of making even boring days feel special. We dated for a little over a year before I proposed. Nothing extravagant. Just the two of us after dinner, my hands shaking as I held out the ring. Philip said yes. For a while, I honestly thought I'd won at life. Then I got to know his family better. His mother never openly said she disliked me. Instead, she hid it behind polite little comments. "It's nice that you're so independent, Gwen. Philip has always been used to certain opportunities." Or, "You work very hard. It must be difficult without family connections to rely on." Small comments. Polite enough to deny. Sharp enough to remember. His father mostly followed his mother's lead. Philip's two younger sisters were worse. They treated him like some priceless family heirloom I was trying to steal. Still, I ignored it. I loved Philip, and I convinced myself that once we were married, everything would settle down. 8 months into our engagement, Philip changed. He started asking strange questions. "Who did you have lunch with? Why didn't you answer during your break? Who stayed late at the office?" I blamed wedding stress. Then one Saturday afternoon, Philip walked into my apartment holding his phone. He didn't kiss me. He didn't smile. "We need to talk." My stomach dropped. I put my phone down. "Okay. What happened?" Without answering, he shoved his screen toward me. There were several blurry photographs. Me leaving a restaurant. Beside me was a man. I stared for a second before recognizing him. "That's Daniel." Philip folded his arms. "Who's Daniel?" "A coworker." "And?" I frowned. "And what? You're seriously going to pretend this is normal?" That was when I understood. "You think I'm cheating on you? You never told me about him." "Philip, Daniel and I had lunch because we're working on the same project." "Convenient." I stared at him. "I can show you the emails." He asked if we could go over some numbers during lunch. Philip laughed bitterly. "Emails? So you've already covered your tracks?" Something inside me went cold. He wasn't asking questions because he wanted answers. He wanted a confession. "When have I ever given you a reason not to trust me? Maybe I don't know you as well as I thought." That hurt. "Who gave you these pictures?" Philip went silent. Then everything clicked. "Your mother." His jaw tightened. I almost laughed. "Of course. Don't bring my mother into this." "She brought herself into it when she had someone photograph me. She was protecting me." "From what? Eating lunch?" Philip looked away. I stepped closer. "What else did she tell you?" "Nothing." But his silence answered me. "Philip, someone secretly photographs me leaving lunch with a coworker. Your mother gives you the pictures, and somehow I'm the suspicious one?" "I know what I saw." "No. You know what she wanted you to see." Before he could answer, someone started pounding on my front door. Not knocking. Pounding. Then the door flew open. Philip's father stormed inside with his two sisters behind him. All three looked furious. His father pointed at me. "You think you can humiliate my son?" I froze. "What?" "You heard me. This is a misunderstanding. I didn't cheat on Philip." One sister stepped forward. "Don't lie." "I'm not lying." I looked at Philip. "Tell them what I told you." He said nothing. "Philip?" "Nothing." His father moved closer. "You think you can play games with my son and walk away? Please calm down. Give me 2 minutes and I can prove." The first hit came before I finished. My head snapped sideways. For a second, I couldn't process what had happened. Then one of Philip's sisters grabbed my arm and shoved me backward. I crashed into the side table. The lamp shattered. "Stop!" I pulled away. "Get out of my apartment!" His father shoved me against the wall. Pain exploded through my shoulder. And I looked at Philip. He stood near the doorway, watching. "Philip!" Our eyes met. He didn't move. His sister struck me again. After that, everything became fragments. Hands, shouting. Furniture overturning. Someone calling me disgusting. Me trying to protect my face. My ribs slamming against something hard. Then the floor. "Admit it," one of them shouted. "Admit you cheated." "I didn't." Another kick. "I swear I didn't." But they weren't interested in the truth. They had already decided what I was. And somehow, seeing Philip standing there hurt worse than anything his family could do to me. Eventually, his father stepped back. "That's enough." Before leaving, he looked down at me. "If I see you near my son again, I won't hold back next time." Then Philip walked toward me. For one stupid second, I thought he was going to help me. Instead, he looked down at the engagement ring on his finger. "The engagement is over." I stared at him. "You watched them do this." His expression barely changed. "You're lucky they didn't break your bones." Then he walked out. The door closed. Silence. I lay there staring at my destroyed living room, broken lamp, overturned furniture, blood on the carpet. Eventually, I crawled to my phone and called a friend. At the hospital, the doctor diagnosed bruised ribs, a split lip, an injured shoulder, and a mild concussion. When I explained what happened, he looked at me seriously. "You need to report this." Part of me wanted revenge. I wanted Philip and his family to feel even a fraction of what they'd done to me. But anger wasn't going to protect me. Evidence would. The next morning, I called a lawyer friend. After hearing everything, he gave me one instruction: file a police report. Today. So I did. The police photographed every bruise and documented the damage to my apartment. I gave them Philip's name, his father's name, his sister's names. Everything. I thought the hardest part would be proving I hadn't cheated. Then, about a week later, an unknown number called. "Gwen?" "Yes?" "This is Philip's uncle." I'd met him maybe twice. He was quiet, usually the kind of man who stayed away from family drama. "I need to talk to you." "About what?" There was a long silence. Then his voice dropped. "You deserve to know the truth about those photographs." My fingers tightened around the phone. "What truth?" He hesitated. "You didn't cheat on Philip." My heart stopped. Then he added, "And Philip's mother knew that from the beginning." 2 days later, I met Philip's uncle at a diner off the highway. It was the kind of place people stopped at because they were passing through, not because they wanted to be remembered. He was already sitting in a corner booth when I arrived. I slid into the seat across from him. "What did you mean when you said Philip's mother knew?" He glanced around before answering. "She never wanted you marrying Philip." That wasn't exactly surprising. "What does that have to do with the pictures?" "Everything." He leaned closer. "She wanted Philip with someone else. A family friend's daughter. Wealthy family. Connections. The kind of marriage she could brag about." My stomach tightened. "So? So she decided you had to go." I stared at him. He continued. "She hired someone to follow you." For a moment, I thought I'd misunderstood. "She did what?" "The photographs weren't random, Gwen. She knew you were meeting Daniel for lunch. She had someone photograph you leaving the restaurant, then showed Philip only the pictures that made it look suspicious." My mouth went dry. All those blurry photos, the convenient angles, the timing. None of it had been accidental. "She told Philip you had another man," he continued. "She'd been putting doubts in his head for weeks. And Philip believed her." He looked uncomfortable. "Philip has always had trouble standing up to his mother." I almost laughed. "That's supposed to make me feel better?" "No." "Good." He reached into his jacket and placed a small USB drive on the table. "What's this?" "Proof." I stared at it. Texts, emails, conversations with my wife. His mother wasn't exactly careful because she never thought anyone would expose her. I picked it up. Why are you helping me? His expression changed. Because what happened to you crossed a line. Whatever problems this family has, you didn't deserve that. I thanked him and left. The entire drive home, anger sat in my chest like something alive. The second I reached my apartment, I plugged the USB into my laptop. There it was. Message after message. Philip's mother talking about hiring someone to watch me. Pictures being discussed before Philip ever confronted me. Messages telling him I wasn't good enough. One made my hands shake. He needs to believe she betrayed him. Once he sees her for what she is, he'll finally walk away. Another message mentioned confronting me. Another suggested Philip's father would handle things if necessary. I sat staring at the screen. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a setup. I immediately forwarded everything to my lawyer. He called less than 20 minutes later. Gwen, where did you get this? Philip's uncle. There was silence. Then, this changes everything. How? This wasn't just an emotional confrontation that got out of control. There's evidence of planning. The next morning, I gave the USB to the detective handling my case. He skimmed through several messages before looking up. This is significant. For the first time since the assault, I felt something besides anger. Control. And apparently, Philip's family realized that too. Because the calls started almost immediately. His father called first. Gwen, we need to talk. The voice was completely different from the man who had threatened me while I was bleeding on my floor. I have nothing to say to you. We may have overreacted. I actually laughed. Overreacted? We were protecting Philip. You assaulted me. We were angry. Things got out of hand. Talk to my lawyer. I hung up. Then one of Philip's sisters texted. She apologized for things going too far and said they'd only been trying to protect their brother. I deleted it. Then Philip contacted me from another number. Gwen, please. I know the truth now. I stared at the screen. Another message appeared. Mom manipulated me. I didn't know. Then, can we please talk? I miss you. I blocked the number. He might not have known his mother staged the photographs, but he knew exactly what was happening when I was on the floor. He had watched. That was enough. A few days later, my lawyer called. The police are moving forward. Warrants had been issued for members of Philip's family connected to the assault and the planning behind it. Suddenly, the people who had treated me like I was powerless were scrambling. Philip's father tried explaining that they were defending family. His sisters insisted they had acted emotionally. His mother claimed she had only wanted to protect her son from making a mistake. The evidence told a different story. And when they realized apologies weren't working, they tried money. One afternoon, I walked toward my car after work and noticed Philip's cousin waiting nearby. Gwen. I stopped. What are you doing here? Just hear me out. No. Please. 2 minutes. Against my better judgment, I stayed. He lowered his voice. The family knows mistakes were made. Mistakes? They're willing to cover your medical expenses. I stared at him. And? He hesitated. Possibly additional compensation. There it was. You want me to drop the case. I'm saying court could get ugly for everyone. It already got ugly. Gwen, tell them no. He sighed. They're trying to make this right. They had that opportunity before they attacked me. I got into my car and left him standing there. After that, Philip became desperate. Emails, messages through friends, voicemails from unfamiliar numbers. I ignored almost everything. Then one message caught my attention. Please meet me once. After that, if you never want to see me again, I'll accept it. I showed my lawyer. If you want closure, he said, don't meet him alone. So I agreed. Not because I wanted Philip back, because I wanted him to hear exactly why he had lost me. We met at a cafe near the courthouse. A friend came with me and sat several tables away. Philip arrived 10 minutes early. When I walked inside, I barely recognized him. His eyes were red. His clothes looked wrinkled. The confident man who had accused me of betrayal looked exhausted. Gwen. I sat down. You wanted to talk. He immediately started crying. I'm sorry. I said nothing. My mother showed me everything. She kept telling me there were other men. She said you were using me. I thought, you thought I cheated? Yes. And that justified what happened? His face collapsed. No. You stood there, Philip. I was angry. You stood there while your family hit me. I froze. That answer almost made me laugh. No, you didn't freeze. He looked at me. You looked me in the eyes and ended our engagement while I was bleeding. Tears rolled down his face. I made the biggest mistake of my life. I shook my head. The photographs weren't your biggest mistake. He went quiet. Your mother manipulated you. Fine. Maybe someday you can forgive yourself for believing her. I leaned closer. But when your family attacked me, nobody manipulated you into standing there. He reached toward my hand. I pulled it away. If you loved me, you would have asked me for my side before deciding I was guilty. I was confused. You had a choice. Gwen, please. You chose them. He started crying harder. I felt something then. Not love, not hatred. Grief. Because for a year I'd believed Philip was someone he had never actually proven himself capable of being. I reached into my purse. His engagement ring had been returned to me through a mutual friend days earlier. I placed it on the table. Philip stared at it. Please don't do this. It was already done. Can we start over? No. Gwen, this isn't about cheating anymore. I stood. This is about what you did when you believed I had. His face went pale. I pushed the ring toward him. You wanted to know who I really was because of a few photographs. I looked at him one last time. Now I know who you are. Then I walked out. My friend followed me. Philip stayed at the table. That was the last time I saw him before the case went to court. And by then, his mother had an even bigger problem. Because Philip's uncle had agreed to testify. By the time the trial started, I thought I was ready. I wasn't. Walking into that courtroom and seeing Philip's family sitting on the other side brought everything back. The shouting, the broken lamp, the taste of blood in my mouth, and Philip standing near the doorway while I begged him to stop them. But this time, I wasn't alone in my apartment. This time, they had to answer for what they'd done. My lawyer had prepared me carefully. Tell the truth. Don't exaggerate. The evidence will do the rest. So, that's exactly what I did. I testified about Philip arriving with the photographs, his accusation, my offer to show him the emails between Daniel and me, his refusal to listen. Then I described the pounding on my door, his father and sisters entering, the first hit, being shoved into the wall, ending up on the floor, and Philip watching. The prosecutor showed photographs taken at the hospital and police station, bruises across my ribs, my swollen lip, the injury to my shoulder. Then came photographs of my apartment, the overturned furniture, the shattered lamp, blood on the carpet. I didn't look at Philip. I didn't need to. Then the prosecutor moved to the USB. That was when the entire case changed. Message after message appeared showing that Philip's mother had wanted me gone long before the supposed affair. She had discussed the wealthy family friend's daughter. She had hired someone to follow me. She knew Daniel was my coworker. And she deliberately selected photographs that could make an ordinary business lunch look intimate. One message appeared on the screen. Philip needs to see what kind of woman she really is. Except she already knew what kind of woman I was. That was why she'd needed to invent another version. Then Philip's uncle testified. The courtroom became completely silent as he explained how his sister-in-law had manipulated Philip for months. She didn't want Gwen marrying him, he said. She wanted Philip to believe Gwen was unfaithful, so he would end the engagement himself. The defense tried attacking his credibility. They suggested family disagreements had motivated him, but then, The prosecutor showed the messages, dates, times, payments, conversations. Everything matched. Philip's father and sisters tried arguing that they genuinely believed they were protecting him. Maybe they did. But believing a lie didn't give them permission to enter my home and attack me. Philip's mother tried distancing herself from the violence. She claimed she had never explicitly ordered anyone to hurt me. I was worried about my son, she said. I wanted him away from someone I believed was wrong for him. The prosecutor asked one simple question. If you genuinely believed Gwen was cheating, why did you need to manufacture evidence? She had no answer. That silence said more than anything else. The verdict came after what felt like forever. Guilty. I expected some huge feeling of victory. It never came. I just sat there. Philip's father and sisters faced serious consequences for the assault, while his mother faced consequences for her role in orchestrating the setup that led to it. They would have criminal records. Their family reputation, the thing Philip's mother had cared so much about, was destroyed. But I didn't smile. There was nothing satisfying about realizing several lives had been wrecked because one woman couldn't tolerate losing control over her son. Philip wasn't charged with attacking me, but that didn't mean he walked away untouched. Friends learned what happened. People in their community learned. The story Philip's mother had created about me collapsed, and suddenly everyone knew who had actually been lying. A few days after sentencing, Philip contacted me again. Different number. I almost deleted the voicemail without listening. Instead, curiosity won. Gwen, I know you probably never want to hear my voice again. He sounded exhausted. I just wanted you to know I'm sorry. I should have trusted you. I should have stopped them. I should have protected you. I closed my eyes. Months earlier, those words might have destroyed me. Now they barely moved anything. I know I don't deserve another chance, he continued. But if there's any part of you that still remembers what we had, please call me. The voicemail ended. I deleted it, then blocked the number. Because Philip still didn't understand. The problem wasn't that he had failed to protect me. I had never needed a man to protect me. I needed the man I planned to marry not to stand beside the people hurting me. There was a difference. For months afterward, people asked whether I regretted pressing charges. I never did. Sometimes they asked if I still loved Philip. That question was harder, because love doesn't disappear the exact moment someone betrays you. Sometimes it lingers long after trust dies. I missed the man who made Sunday coffee with me, the man who laughed at terrible movies, the man who held my hand while we talked about houses, children, and the life we thought we'd have. But eventually, I understood something. I wasn't missing Philip. I was missing who I thought Philip was. The photographs had never destroyed our relationship. His mother hadn't destroyed it either. She had created the lie. Yes. But Philip had been given a choice. He could ask questions. He could listen. He could trust the woman he had promised to marry. Instead, he chose suspicion. And when suspicion turned into violence, he chose silence. That was something no apology could undo. I moved apartments several months later. Not because I was afraid. I simply didn't want to keep walking past the spot where that lamp shattered. I wanted somewhere that belonged to the next chapter of my life. The first night in my new place, I sat on the floor surrounded by unopened boxes. No furniture yet, no pictures on the walls. Just silence. But for the first time in months, silence didn't scare me. It felt peaceful. I had spent so long thinking justice would be the moment a judge punished Philip's family. It wasn't. Justice was waking up without wondering whether someone believed the lies about me. It was looking in the mirror and no longer seeing the woman bleeding on her living room floor. It was understanding that being falsely accused didn't define me. Neither did what they did afterward. They thought they could intimidate me into disappearing. Instead, they gave me every reason to finally stand up for myself. And Philip? I hope he eventually learns the difference between loving someone and simply loving what your family allows you to love. But that's no longer my problem. My name is Gwen Holly. I'm not the cheating fiancé Philip's mother tried to create. I'm not the woman his family thought they could punish without consequences. I'm the woman who survived them. And when the truth finally came out, I didn't need revenge. I only needed to make sure they could never rewrite it again.